guys, welcome back guys for another live stream. This time it's the second day of Gamescom. I wasn't in the house for take action and the live for the first day. I'm sorry for it, and yeah, let's go. I hope you have a good time, and we are about to see more gameplay, more trailers, more gameplay of Fable, and much more. So welcome to this live stream again. Here we go. Hello Ziad, what's up? How are you? So less than a minute for the second day of Gamescom live stream to begin. And I'm sorry for yesterday because I was like busy and I wasn't at home. So let's see what's the day do store for us. I think we will see more of Fable. We'll see more of Tomb Raider, much more of course. Also we will good. Okay, great. Nice to know your good health. Yeah. So here we go. Less than 20 seconds. Here we go, here we go. Let's see what's gonna be in 2, 1, and go! Okay. I wish I read the Redemption 3.
Gamescom
Yes,
2026.
Not in this,
It's the biggest video game convention in the world.
Live stream, but there is some
And
talk
IGN is
about
here
it.
to bring you every second of it
Maybe
live from our
in the end
Gamescom
of
Studio
the
in
decade.
Cologne, Germany.
2029.
Tune in for brand new trailers and gameplay deep dives with the coolest games headed your way from Nintendo, Xbox, Square Enix,
Final
Sega,
Fantasy
plus so much
more.
more. Day 2 of IGN's coverage of Gamescom 2026 starts right now.
I'll be sharing more about the first day of Gamescom, reviews of some gameplay.
Welcome to Gamescom Studio
Today or
2026.
tomorrow, so,
I'm Jane Douglas, here with Damon Hatfield
don't
and Matt
forget to
Scoville.
Gamescom is always
my channel
massive, but this
and
year's
get
show is especially packed.
news.
This is just day 2 of 5 days of Gamescom Studio we've got lined up.
And that's not even counting the Gamescom Awesome Indie Show 2026, which is happening at 8 p.m. Central European Time, so keep an eye out.
There are so many games being shown off, it can be hard to keep track of them all, so be sure to head over to the Gamescom Steam event page and add your favorites to your wish list.
We'll get to the games very soon, but first let's check in with Brian out on the Spotlight stage.
Thank you guys so much. As you
And
can see,
I wish
Gamescom
someday
is awesome and
to be here.
crazy. In just a bit, we'll check out what's going
be
on
in
with
the
Witcher
Gamescom
3
or the
DLC.
Game Award.
Then we'll see what's going on with Warlock.
Well, now we
but
have-
next,
oh,
it's
okay.
time for Fable, a fantasy
Fable,
adventure
okay.
I can't wait to play.
And we will
but first,
see
let's see
also
what's
The
going on
Witcher.
out there on the show floor. Hey!
Hello guys, let's go for Fable.
You're watching IGN's live coverage of Gamescom, the
IGN.
biggest and coolest gaming convention in the world. And up next, we'll be checking out Fable, The Witcher 3, and Warlock. All of that and more here at Gamescom.
Nice, 3 good games to see. And also Tomb
Fable
Raider
is shaping up
as
to be
well.
one of 2027's biggest games, and here at Gamescom, we got to see a little more of it to hold us over until then. Here to tell me all about it, it's Ralph Fulton from Playground Games. Game director Ralph Fulton, how the hell are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you enjoying Gamescom so far?
Loving it, absolutely loving it. Been a while since I've been here, but yeah, back in the stride of things. It's really busy. It's It's frenetic, but it's lots of fun.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
So we're looking at combat specifically in Fable at the moment. A lot of emphasis on combat here at Gamescom. What can you tell us about what you're showing off?
No, I think almost with everything we've started working on in this game, we always go back and look at the original trilogy first.
Combat.
And that's not to say that we're remaking that game. This is kind of a reboot. We've been really clear about that. The other thing we always do is we look at what are the games that we aspire to be like, that we'd love to stand alongside in the current market. Because obviously the original trilogy is like a couple of decades old, right? So we look at both of those places and figure out where we want to go now. Combat for us is one of the many things in Fable that we'd never done before as a studio, right? So there was a huge learning process there. We were able to hire in a bunch of folks who had done combat and a bunch of other games that we admired and really learn from them about it. But the root of the combat system, I think, in our game is still inspired by the philosophy of the original trilogy, that they were all about strength, skill, and will, which really was about the combination of melee weapons and ranged weapons and magical abilities, which are magical abilities being the thing that really sets heroes in Albion apart from the ordinary folks. So that philosophy is still there. What we've tried to do is really, I guess, bring it up to date. We want the player to be able to move between melee and ranged and magic seamlessly, fluidly, really simply and stylishly, I think, as well, so that you can really show off what being a hero is all about.
And for people who won't get to get their hands on it here at Gamescom, like how is that going to feel like vis-a-vis the original games, like sort of one button kind of emphasis, that very streamlined, simple kind of combat?
Yeah, so definitely not one button. That's not a place we've gone with this.
This is good.
Extremely difficult to do that and still maintain player agency, right? So being able to choose what it is that you're working, you're wanting to use at any given point. So as you can see here, this player is very easily and seamlessly combining magical spells and that repeater crossbow, which is kind of as close to a machine gun as you get in this kind of game, and then this massive hammer, which rounds out. Everybody loves a massive hammer. So yeah, this is I guess a fairly powerful loadout that this player is running with. What we're actually doing behind closed doors, where we're giving people hands-on, is allowing them to play this, which is a segment of a quest, which is maybe sort of mid-game, I would say, probably start of the second act, with two different loadouts, just so they can feel what the loadout does to their options and how the combat feels. Because really we want the player to be the hero. They want to fight how they want to fight, and a lot of that is what melee weapon are you going to take, what ranged weapon are you going to take, and what 4 spells are you going to stick on your spell quad that you can see down the bottom right of the screen there.
I was looking at some gameplay earlier and I saw the magical blade spell.
Yes.
Personal favourite, I think, like iconic.
We could not leave that out.
Absolutely. Yeah. What kind of other spells can we expect, and what variety? Like how many spells? What kind of diversity of spells?
So it's a good question, actually. I should probably have learned the numbers before I came on here. But I'll talk to you about the spells that we have here. You just saw lightning. That's on cooldown right now. We love lightning. We've actually included it in both of the loadouts in the hands-on. Just because it combines really well with other spells, like Suspend, for example, and it also looks super cool. When it's leveled up to its max, you get this great chain lightning effect that happens, super powerful, bags of fun in a sort of big enemy dungeon like this one. We also have Fireball, again, classic, can't not have Fireball.
Can't not.
Yeah. That's, again, like all of our spells, you can level it up. So, when you first get it, which is actually when your heroic powers emerge for the first time in childhood.
So it's your first spell?
It is the first thing that comes to you when you're in great peril and you're protecting your adoptive brother. It's a fireball that comes out. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. It didn't happen to me, but it happens to your character right at the start of the game. So that's one you have right from the start of the game. Actually, I noticed it's not equipped in this particular loadout, but we'll keep talking about it because it's fun.
Be defending your brother,
and then you can level it up, and obviously it increases in power and splash damage and what have you. But what we do have here is a push spell. So that's That's more of a crowd control spell. You're not going to do an enormous amount of damage with push, as you would expect, but if you're getting overwhelmed, it's a great way just to get these guys away from you, and if you're near a ledge, it's a super fun way to send them tumbling to their demise.
Yes, please, personal fave. How kind of class dependent? I know we're not talking classes in the the kind of skill tree.
Absolutely. So really what you're doing is you're completing quests in the game, you're exploring the open world to gain skill points, to go into the skill point and unlock things. Not a revolutionary concept, I admit, but nevertheless something that works super effectively. We've employed it here. And then it's really about picking the spells or the skills or the abilities that you want that complement how you want to go into a fight. Because really that skill tree is predominantly about how you're going to go and fight enemies, creatures, and what have you that you encounter through your heroic journey.
Okay, so I really love Magic Blades, and I just want to get to the end of that kind of branch and get the highest version of Magic Blades.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you respec your skill tree, and does that cost you?
You honestly don't need to, because we don't stop you earning, and we will allow you through play to earn everything in the skill tree, so you can just
this is new
almost
for
respec
them.
for free, I guess, is
is
how it works.
Okay, so by the end of the game, you might just have literally everything in every branch.
Absolutely,
the entire skill tree.
And again, we went back and forth on that. There's something we had a lot of discussions about in the studio, and there was a camp who were very much into sort of consequence-based progression. You know, if you make a decision here, then that is going to put you on a path that you would need to respec and pay to move. But where we went ultimately is just in service of being the hero you want to be, allowing you maximum agency, maximum freedom of choice. That's the direction we've gone.
Okay, so like moving away from the idea that to have this, you're going to have to sacrifice this other thing.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. What are we looking at now? That was some lightning, I believe.
That was some lightning, and it was chaining around, and that was a perfect evade. So that, again, that's a skill that you can buy from the skill tree and become super effective if you're an evader rather than a blocker, and as we've worked in this game, we've found out that people are one or other. I love a bit of evading myself. So perfect evade is a great way of turning evade into a really devastating attack, which I'm sure we will see as we move forward. Again, they smash up good with this massive hammer. It is absolutely the right melee choice for this particular dungeon, which comes, as I said, like maybe sort of the start of the second act, kind of mid-game, and we're here with Humphrey the Golden, who you might remember from a showcase trailer we did not so long ago. We are on the hunt for Isabel,
you see
who we met in our Dune showcase trailer, played by the amazing Hayley Atwell.
None other, yes.
Oh, right, like starry-eyed, and she was brilliant. She plays our main antagonist. I won't say much more about what her role in the game is, but we are looking for her, and to get to her. Her flooded village, we are going through an equally flooded mine, which is populated with members of our undead family. We just shot a wraith there. They are pesky because if you leave them unguarded, they're going to dive back into the ground and spawn a bunch more of these hollow folk.
And these pips above the health bar.
Yeah.
What are these?
So these are ways for you to recharge your health. If you're getting low, you press up in the D-pad. You spend one of those just to bump it back up again. And health management is kind of part of the difficulty experience within our combat, our combat in the game. So push off a ledge there, super effective.
Lovely.
And difficulty is another thing we're talking about this week. Again, the purpose of giving folks 2 runs of the same sort of dungeon is to allow them to bump up the difficulty and see how that affects you. We wanted to make sure that folks understand that you can bring your ability level to the game, and the game will be able to match you with varied difficulty levels. You know, so that's if you're a person who just wants the story, you know, isn't really interested in challenge, isn't interested in dying, and there are lots of people that are just there for the narrative. We have story mode. That's for you. But above that, there are then 3 difficulty levels going right the way up to Master, which Master will give you a really big challenge in terms of difficulty, and it's not for the faint-hearted.
Just focus
on the story,
maybe
if you're in it for the sort of life sim, social sim stuff,
game.
then maybe that's the version of the game for you.
Exactly. You just want to cruise through the combat and not really worry about dying and not really worry about having to repeat, because you want to get back to your multiple spouses or whatever you have, yeah, that's probably for you.
All right, we're running low on time, but since you mentioned Hayley Atwell, when
Yes.
I think of Fable, I think of like iconic
How many
British
wives you're
actors.
gonna have,
How does
guys,
that
when
casting
you play
process
this
like
game?
work for you?
So we did as well, right?
I
If you
mean,
go back
maybe
to those
one, or
original games, you
if
read
I'm
through their,
really
their,
rich, I'm gonna
their
take
cast
like
list.
4.
It's who's who.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We felt like we had to do something similar, but with a more modern cast of British actors, British comedians, who we've been showing off a lot in a bunch of our trailers. Honestly, with someone like Hayley Atwell, and for the character of Isabel, we were just kind of like, okay, who's your dream cast?
Oh, so you like Blue Sky? You're
Totally,
like,
yeah.
If we could get anyone, who would it be?
And then when Hayley was interested, we were kind of not flat, and we spoke to her, and she was not massively into games, but super keen on Fable, super keen on the character that we presented to her, and she really brought just incredible discipline and professionalism to the role and to the performance capture process, and it was just a delight to work with.
Yeah, she's been very cool so far in what we've seen.
Yes.
So, Ralph, thank you so much. We're running out of time here on the stage. Really looking forward to Fable coming in February next year.
February 23rd next year. Thank you for having me.
Indeed, thank you so much.
in
All right.
February,
Fable hits
like,
Xbox
5
Series,
months
PC, and
before.
PlayStation 5 on February the 23rd. Be sure to stick around for our hands-on impressions of the Fable demo here at Gamescom. That's up next,
Can I
right
teleport
here
to there?
on Gamescom Studio.
I wanna teleport for enjoy game. Can we? Can I?
I'm here on the Gamescom show floor with Simon Cardy,
Hello.
See with
who's
Fable.
done something that every Xbox player has been wishing they could do for what, 15, 16 years? And that is play a new Fable game. You've done it.
I've played a new Fable game. I have not only played a new quest from Fable that was combat heavy, I've seen the developers play a new quest from Fable that was more story-led and more kind of typical Fable. Should we start with the combat? Because that's kind of where the newest stuff is.
Yeah, absolutely. Because is it that different from sort of Fable 2, 3? Because they had a very strange sort of one-button mauling you combat system. Is that gone?
Yes, this
Okay.
is very much a more modern combat system, I'd say. So I got to play even the same mission twice through with different loadouts, but both with the same primary weapon, which is like a big old like two-handed hammer, which I got to swing into some like skeleton creatures that had wraiths flying out of them. It also worked on the wraiths, so the physical damage works on ghosts. That is confirmed. There's a headline for you there. But I also had a bow and arrow, which was a great little ranged weapon to use, and it felt good too. It had really nice feedback on the triggers. It definitely didn't feel like that one-button combat, really simplistic combat we're used to in Fable. It felt more like a developed modern like action adventure should feel, which was really pleasing, because that was my kind of one question mark. I was kind of sold on the tone of this Fable and like the story it's trying to tell, but combat was a real question mark. And I also liked that it didn't, I haven't had this confirmed yet, but it didn't really seem like you have to like specialize in a class at all. You still have all your spells, which if you hold on the right trigger, you can select one of 4 different spells.
Okay.
And so you can mix and match, and there's like great synergy I think you can achieve using those spells.
Okay. All right, so
Change
talking
the
about
spells.
the tone, I think being a completely new developer, a completely new team, I think originally there was a bit of skepticism as to whether they could capture that, but everything they've shown has really sort of shown that they actually can harness that, that beautiful vibe.
I think Playground really get that, and I saw that kind of in both of the things I saw. So just briefly touching on combat again, one of the spells you could turn the enemies into a chicken. You kind of Fable about chickens, and you can do different things with that chicken. So you can either just punt it, you can hit the chicken,
classic,
classic. If you happen to turn one of those undead skeletons into a chicken, it will become an undead chicken. Then if you throw a fireball onto that chicken, it becomes a roast chicken. It's just silly. I like it. And Fable needs to be silly. Like, I'm not looking for a groundbreaking story. Maybe this will move me. Maybe I'll end up in a flood of tears. But I feel that's more likely through laughter than through any sort of real deep sadness when it comes to Albion.
They kept doing all these sort of tone pieces that felt, they were demonstrating. They're like, we get Fable. We're not just car people. We get But then they did the trailer with Hayley Atwell, and her trailer was very like sort of dark and bringing in that kind of more sinister side to Fable that's always kind of been there as well. So but you saw a quest today where you had to help Humphrey deal with Slick Ronnie. But Slick Ronnie sounds like a euphemism, as all beautiful British names do.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like a Lonely Island song. But yeah, it followed on from so the main quest, the outset of Fable, the establishing story moment that we know about is this Hayley Atwell villainess character called Isabel has gone to your home village and turned everyone to stone. So now you are the hero who has gone to Bowerstone, which is the capital of Albion, which looks absolutely beautiful, by the way. It looks stunning. Seeing it on that screen in like full motion on ultra settings looked absolutely gorgeous. And basically, you have to go to the Heroes Guild, which is where Humphrey the Golden is living. And he used to be a legend, right? But he's down on his luck. He's basically turned into an alcoholic. Basically, the first, this is a game full of choices, big and small choices, and the first choice you have is you basically walk into his home and he's like in a stupor and he basically says, "Large beer." That's all he says. Yeah. And you pick up a tankard from the sideboard and you have a choice. You're like, do we give him the drink? Or do you throw it over him to try and rouse him? Yeah. The devs chose to throw it over him. Unkind, but maybe, maybe warranted. And basically, I love that.
Maybe a bit of tough love.
Exactly. I love that in this game, basically, whenever you make a choice, on the side, it will have a plus or minus how someone feels about you. And all that popped up on the left-hand side of the screen was plus arsehole. So, Humphrey at that point thought we were arsehole, but we had to go help him, and that led us to Slick Ronnie, who has basically won the deeds to the guild building in a gambling, I don't know what gambling match it was, I can't quite remember. But
gambling match.
Gambling match. What are those gambling matches? You know when you go one-on-one roulette with someone? But basically Humphrey's been careless of that, so we had to go and steal those from Slick Ronnie, whose lair is in a pub. And there's a bit of pick-locking, a bit of bribery that had to be done. So it's not all combat. It seems like you can maybe circumvent quite a bit of combat in this game by being charming or scheming, which I really like, because although I found the combat really fluid and slick to use, I kind of do just want, I like in RPGs like this to talk my way out of as many holes as I can.
Yeah, a lot of RPGs play beautifully when you throw all your points into speech and you talk your way out of stuff, and that's often where the real juice is. Fable originally, the classic trilogy, which is brilliant and I love it, but it is very go and kill this guy or go and batter something. So it's great to hear that it's got some of that, much more kind of. You've got some choices. You've got a bit of fluidity to how you can solve things. That's awesome.
I'm really looking forward to it. Now I feel like it's one where I was already really looking forward to Fable, but as we said, I kind of had those initial doubts maybe of okay, it's a new studio. They've only, as you said, done driving games before. They're having to build combat from the ground. They've never done it before. They might have brought in people that may have helped with that, but it really is. They've never really had to do combat before. They've had to really build it from the ground up. And
stop the music.
I've kind of after playing it only for half an hour or so and seeing this new quest, most of my fears have kind of been allayed. I'm now really looking forward to this
I think
game.
that's kind of been the story of this whole project. People really did think initially, are these really the right people to make this new Fable? And it seems like everything they've shown has been about breaking down those preconceptions everybody had and going, no, actually they get it. So it's great to hear that the combat sounds fantastic, and we know the humor's there, we know everything else is there. So at this point it's just a case of bring it out.
Can it sustain it over the course of, I don't know, 30 hours? I don't know, that's just a guess. I don't know how long the game's going to be. You suspect something like that, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like in any Fable game, right, it's not even just about the quest and the story. Just even walking around Bowerstone and just there's over 30 businesses there which you can kind of take over and in Fable games, tattoo parlors, hairdressers, clothing shops.
This game you can do
to your heart's
anything
content
you
and
want.
have whatever family you want as well. It's
every
we were playing in the demo as a female hero who had a spouse called
gonna play this game.
And
it's
a daughter called Daisy.
almost
and we went to their home
it's gonna be
and they
unique.
seemed lovely, and you know what? I think
And
the
I
passion was
guess
still alive because,
in my opinion,
we were walking
I'm gonna
away from
play
the
it
house in Elliot in a distance.
as I am the one who
I'm glad I married all
is
of
in
that.
this.
So
I'm gonna
a level of charm there.
put
that really
my
only,
personality
I think the British
in
can
this
provide.
one, in the one that I will create and be the hero in Albion.
It's
Like
come a
being
long way
kind.
from
I
James
don't
Corden
care.
cameos,
I'm gonna be me.
thankfully.
in the game.
But yeah,
because you can choose any answer you want.
I'm very excited.
Choose
Be
the way
excited.
you want to play.
Yeah. Be excited.
Being
That's how we're
a
finishing
good,
this. Be excited.
a good a chicken. What? A good person or bad or like the asshole. Metro. Okay, let's go with Metro now. Okay,
IGN's coverage of Gamescom 2026 is presented by Fable.
Fable.
The average Cinefix movie list
who
features
played
nearly 100 different films and approximately
the original
25
Fable?
minutes worth of
I played
wall-to-wall
it
deep dive analysis.
when I was a kid, but
Simulate
I
that
don't
pace for
remember
this
much
30-second
of.
advert featuring 26
It's
different
like
films,
I was
and before you
like
say it,
maybe
no,
6,
that math
7,
does not
8
check
years
out.
old, so
We're not math people.
I really
We're
don't
movie
remember
people.
much.
We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at like 96. Subscribe to IGN.
Let's stop this because there is some ads. I don't know. It's related. Let's go back.
IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
I didn't know that for guides. Okay.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your
Too
money
much
pouch.
ads for IGN. But I didn't know that they put like guides and stuff. Interactive maps. I see. Rewards. What kind of rewards?
IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Discounts. It's with money. You need to pay. Nothing is free. Okay.
The Witcher 4 might be a ways off, but fans will have plenty to keep them busy between a free enhanced remaster of The Witcher 3 next month and then a whole new expansion to that game coming next year. Here to tell us about it, level design lead Miles Tost and Geralt of Rivia himself,
Witcher,
Doug
guys.
Cockle. What's up? Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, so you are, the CDPR is in everyone's good graces right now. It's just the big announcement that, hey, this game that 65 million people own, we're making it nicer for free and everyone can just have it. That's so cool. It's so bizarre to see that level of positivity around an announcement. Usually I feel like there's a lot of angry comments regardless of what anyone's doing. Is there a little detail in the laundry list of features you're adding in the enhanced remastered version that you didn't get a chance to shout out on stage last night?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. I love that. So I get to kind of call it another baby. First off, I want to say this is something we're not taking for granted, right? Like, we had some expectations for this being cool, but the response has been overwhelming. And, we have a bit of a history sort of in trying to prove our goodwill and all of that stuff. So for us, it's like moments like these are amazing. Absolutely incredible. What a privilege. And for the feature, I think one that I really like that was kind of mentioned in the trailer a bit, but I don't think we spotlighted enough is transmog. I keep saying that it would be so cool for us to now come up with our own term to fashion Souls, but Witcher. Whatever that might end up being.
I see.
No, that's a big one. People are definitely excited about that. Now,
the visuals.
I honestly don't even want to spoil this. I just want to jump into that when that comes out. That's September 29th. Is that right?
That's
it's
right.
Very close. Very nice. Not like I didn't have anything going on next month already in video games. Just
nothing.
Busy year.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Songs of the Past. This is a whole new expansion. It has been, 12 years since Blood and Wine. Where does this take place in relation to Geralt's previous adventures? And Doug, what's Geralt been doing all this time? Where has he been?
Well, as we know, he's been at Corvo Bianco, tending to his vineyards, drinking some fine Redanian red here and there, inviting guests to come and join him, Triss, Yen, Dandelion. He's been having a great time.
Seems like a good time. And I get the sense that Dandelion's in kind of a bad situation in this expansion. Is that right?
When is he not?
Yeah. So we're heading to his hometown though, and kind of seeing where he came from.
Yes, exactly. So in this expansion, we are stepping up as Geralt to once again help our best friend. It's almost like an iconic friendship, right, between this how do we say it even in the demo, like the silent type, the big silent type, and like the fun minstrel.
Yeah.
And this brings them to Letten, and Letten is Dandelion's homeland. It's a super cool new region, which is cool because it Toussaint, like Skellige, like Velen. It has its own unique identity, both in terms of landscape, culture, the demographics, and it's a super fascinating place that I think a lot of people will really enjoy to explore.
Nice. Now, Geralt's had like a lot of adventures since the last time we saw him in a game. He had his own Netflix show. He got a new book. He got 2 anime movies. He got a stack of comics. He went from being like kind of an esoteric figure to like a household name. Like he's a big deal. Doug, how has this changed your approach to playing Geralt? Have you found that there's like more pressure now that he's like legendary? No. Like what's your outlook on that?
It hasn't really changed my approach at all. It's interesting that you say has it made more pressure. Yes, a little bit because so many more people are aware, and I don't want to disappoint. I want to do what we've always done, and create the character that everybody loves, and I think that I will. But
now
there's so many eyes on it now.
Exactly.
There is a little bit of pressure. Yeah.
Plus, I mean, we're sharing that pressure in the sense that we are opening this sort of new chapter, right? After doing Blood and Wine. And I think it's such a cool moment in terms of, like, how do you reason with that? That, like, is it really worth it to kind of open up Blood and Wine and go for one more? But I really think that we have this super cool story to tell. And I genuinely mean it when I say that we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think we could do something cool.
Nice. Exactly. I mean, in the time since Witcher 3 came out, a lot of people have played it and then replayed it and then probably replayed it again. And I know some people they're hesitant to do a whole new replay. They love it, but it's like, I want to see the new thing. Is there an option to sort of jump in midstream? I know with Phantom Liberty, you could basically skip the prologue and Act 1 of Cyberpunk and kind of just jump in there. Is there something like that for Songs of the Past?
Yes. Yeah, we had it with Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine as well. So if you are coming back just for the expansion, there's an option to jump right into the game there. We will basically pre-create your Geralt, give you equipment, give you skill points and all of that stuff, so you will be right on your way.
Just off to the races. Doug, it's been almost 20 years since the first Witcher game. What was your first impression of this character? Because he was a relative unknown in English-speaking countries then. What do you remember how he was pitched to you?
He was pitched to me as an emotionless monster hunter. And you're right, the books weren't out in English when we started recording Witcher 1, so I didn't have that resource. I had to rely entirely on CDPR to describe the world and the character, and they did a really good job of that. And we had character art and things like that that helped a lot with that. But he was. I think when I went to the audition, that he was just described as an emotionless monster hunter with a gravelly voice, and that's where it started.
Has your impression of him changed since then? Like, I feel like I feel like Geralt might be emotionless. He just seems. I want to hang out with the guy.
Yeah,
he seems pretty chill. I don't know.
Yeah, especially if there are drowners hanging around the pool.
Is for me.
My impression of him has changed a lot, and I think that's from time with him, and also because the writers at CDPR have learned more about him and have made decisions that have given me more to cling on to as well. If you play through all the games, Witcher 1 to Blood and Wine, you'll notice that Geralt has more and more of an emotional life, and he becomes more complex. And that's really exciting. And
the development of the character
where the next one takes us.
Neat. Now, speaking of Witcher 1, he's finally getting the silver chain in the new expansion. This is a weapon that he had in the very first cutscene and in one of the very first short stories, but it's never actually been playable until now. Doug, a lot of people were looking at this and they're like, this looks like Mortal Kombat. Could you possibly give me Geralt's rendition of "Get over here"? Like, how would he deliver that in the heat of battle while like throwing that chain out?
Get over here.
Yes.
Can we just capture that again and just put it in?
I
feels
love
like,
that.
yeah.
This is awesome. So having weaponry from sort of his earlier career, is there a possibility that's going to pop up again in the Witcher 1 remake that was announced in 2022? Is there anything you can say about that?
That's a nice trick question. I see our PR handlers getting very nervous over there right now. No, we don't talk about that.
Fair enough. No, I get that. But no, in terms of stuff you have announced that's upcoming things, does the new expansion tie into The Witcher 4 at all? Like, is it... I mean, obviously, it's good to refamiliarize people with this world jumping in there, but would you see this as more of like an extension of Geralt's story, or is it almost a prologue type thing, or is it just is it sort of somewhere in the middle?
It's definitely an extension of Geralt's story. Like, this was the initial concept that we even had like a few years ago. The idea that we want to create, or we have one more story to tell for Geralt before we pass on the torch to Ciri. And this is also how we're kind of viewing this expansion in general. It's very much Geralt front and center, and everything else we'll have to see.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much.
Yep.
Going back to the enhanced remaster, of the many features you've got in there, you know that there's changes to combat, there's changes to traversal. How do you incorporate that stuff without sort of breaking the game? Because it's all kind of, it's all a house of cards there.
So the truthful answer to that is you don't. So, if this was what it was, then, it would be super easy to make this stuff. But like, the reality is that there's a lot of awesome people, a lot of teams involved who are working to make this happen, and they're really pouring all of their energy and hearts into this.
Nice.
And the
Even
fact is that if you open these working systems to completely rework them, add new animations and all that stuff, and in part also in the case of ray tracing, adding new tech to the engine, right, on top of what exists.
So this is gonna
it's
be
bound to break something, but the part of the process is also that we will work with that, and we will go through it, and eventually,
the channel, of course.
It's fascinating to see. Doug, did you do any new recording for this, or is that just for the expansion stuff?
For the remaster.
Remaster, yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think that's all technical stuff, so that there's no new performances that I'm aware of, anyways.
You're keeping busy with new adventures elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited to see this stuff come through. One last question: what's going on with the Switch 2 version? Is that happening? Is there like a Switch 2? Yeah.
Yes. So we're both we're doing something super cool new for us. We're doing both BattleNet now and the Switch 2 version. And from my understanding, I'm not fully correct on this. I believe that the Switch 2 version is the upgraded version of the Switch, right? Yeah. So essentially, if you have the Switch base game version, you will get the Switch 2 version. If you have a Switch 2, right? We won't give you a Switch 2. But if you have, it's basically like with all the other versions of the game. If you have a base game version of it, you will get an upgrade for it. Yeah.
And you get the upgrade if you have the physical version too, for whatever
Yes, I
version?
think it's a download essentially. Yeah.
I feel like people are so used to being skeptical about announcements. They're like, what do I have to do? And it's like you just get it. You get the thing. It's like look under your chair. It's free. Have fun.
Yeah. That's what made it so fun to announce that also.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thank you both so much for coming by. Doug, thank you for countless hours of, I guess, companionship. It's such a treat to meet Geralt in person.
Because
I didn't expect you to be
such a blessing to be Geralt in person.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
Cool.
It is truly a privilege.
And it's
you guys are clearly keeping very busy over at CDPR, and I'm excited to see what you do next. Yeah, Songs of the Past coming to consoles and PC in 2027, but The Witcher 3 Remastered drops September 29th, and right now there's more Gamescom Studio coming up on IGN. Stick around.
Let's go. Let's continue. Pikachu!
Do you want to be the very best like no one ever was?
What did I say?
Streamline your journey to becoming a master trainer with Planet Pokemon. Choose your Pokemon, filtering by type, stats, or game availability. Then use the full team builder to assemble an unbeatable lineup. Plan out the optimal set of moves, items, and abilities. Plan your dream team today at planetpokemon.com.
Okay.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Let the kids love what we love.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
This is good. I didn't know many of them. Like a Dragon.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted.
Let's just put this just in case. A lot of ads for IGN.
IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Not biggest. Fable. What's this? What's this?
Warlock is a brand new open-world action-adventure set in the realm of Dungeons & Dragons. Here to tell us about it, Dominic Gang from Invoke Studios. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Dude, your game looks sick.
Thank you.
It's always nice to get like a big reveal of gameplay like that.
Yeah.
And kind of really seeing a game in action and get a sense of like what you're doing.
Yeah.
You had big, huge CG trailer last year. And
Yeah.
It's nice to kind of let the cat out of the bag. A thing that jumped out at me right away is just how tactile this all looks. Which is kind of what you want from a D&D game. We're used to D&D being very turn-based, but also rewarding player creativity. Can you tell me a little bit about, I guess, some of the systems and mechanics that you're incorporating and how that really allows for
This game is
yeah,
like
the game's really centered around making creative use of magic, so that was kind of the center for us. We wanted the player to be able to experiment with spells in real time, spells that maybe some players have used turn-based before at the tabletop.
We'll see more, of course.
So that's the whole purpose of the game, and the center of it, making use of these spells both to explore the open world, to solve mysteries, but also in combat, obviously. Always in combination with the character's weapon master abilities.
You can use magic.
Which was the hardest spell to, I guess, put into a real-time setting?
I wouldn't say one was worse than another. Every time we design a spell, one of the ways we challenge ourselves is to think of how they could be useful in multiple contexts. And we're also thinking of how players could combine these spells and use them smartly in the environment to almost break the game in a way, find their own solutions to problems. You know, you saw how we burned that bramble and then we could gather some water, put it off. So underneath there's a lot of systems running and we just build spells on top and let the player loose with them.
No, I love that kind of sandbox. I get the sense that, is there like a dash of Metroidvania in there? Like if there's spells you don't know, is there stuff you couldn't go do?
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. In a way, yes, but not in a binary way like a Metroidvania. So as you gain new powers, new spells, it lets you get your reach in the open world to be, you know, broader and broader, reach new places, find secrets. So definitely you want to grow in power to get to find all the secrets in our setting. It is a fully open world game, but we're thinking about it in an exploration-driven way. We want the player to go out there and not just follow a waypoint, but really engage with the world. And like you see here, right, you're investigating a trace on the ground, and through that you'll organically unlock a side quest, basically.
Cool. And are there I mean, there are dungeons. It's a Dungeons & Dragons game. There's a dungeon right there.
You
I can
have
see
to,
it.
right, yeah.
I guess in terms of how the world's structured, do you kind of just get spat out in the middle of it, and you can go any direction? Is it really just fully like open from the
It's
dome?
fully open. So at the beginning of the game, you're thrown into this weird setting that's called Darkon, and it's a domain of dread on the brink. There's a lot of chaos going on in there. There's a power vacuum, and it's almost an apocalyptic setting. There's mists all around, normally preventing people from going in and out, and these mists are kind of going into the land and reshaping it. So the player needs to figure out what's going on in Darkon with the main character, and the world's fully open. So you got a map, there's fog of war, you'll need to go out there, you'll need to explore and reveal what's hidden inside of the world.
I like to hear this. So in D&D, picking a class is a big deal. You picked one. It's a warlock.
Yeah.
What's for people who aren't as well versed, what's the big deal about warlocks, and why does it make the most sense?
So a warlock is a magic user that get their spells through a pact with a powerful patron. So in our case, Katri, our main character, made a pact with Tasha, a very dangerous witch queen that's really hard to read and has her own agenda. So you're getting in bed with someone that's probably gonna have to force a price on that power she's giving you.
We get a glimpse of sort of like a table where some kind of stuff is being performed. What's that?
Yeah, so some of our spells are called rituals, and they take a little bit more time to cast, and they require components that you find in the open world. But they also allow us to create spells that are even more powerful and lets you set things up. You'll see later on where we'll use one that basically calls rain, a downpour, and then you can use this in various ways to put out fires, but also in the way we use it here in the demo, we synergize with a spell called Witch Bolts. You all have those enemies now covered in water, you have puddles around, and so you can use that to have greater power with your Witch Bolt.
So we see a bit of, fire, water, a bit of electricity. Is there like ice, poison, that kind of stuff too in there?
Yeah, we got a lot of. We didn't go for ice, but there's a lot of systems, and even wind, right? We got in this spell gust of wind. So we build this spell up because we have a wind system. So then you can affect. There's clouds, toxic clouds, then you can affect them with your spells. So how can you use this? How can you defeat certain monsters with that? How can it help you reach new places? So even a spell like Gust of Wind allows those kinds of things.
Maybe there's like
You've also got plenty of just sword and board combat here too, yeah?
Yeah, so fundamentally you'll use your spells to set up enemies, put yourself at an advantage to do critical attacks generally, but then you're going in with your weapons too. So at any time you got 2 weapons equipped, you can find new ones, you can upgrade these weapons. So in the demo you'll see we're using a warhammer and a sword. And really the player gets in there too, and she used to be a weapon master before she got those spells, before she became a warlock, and you mix those 2 sides of her background.
Okay, so we got a ritual going on right here.
Exactly.
What's happening exactly?
Yeah, exactly. So she's pouring those ingredients that she either purchased or found in the environment, in the world, and now that downpour I mentioned before starts. And now we're going to be using witch bolts, and you're going to see how efficient it is. It wouldn't be quite as efficient as this if the enemies weren't covered in water, if there wasn't puddles around. You can see the electricity is zapping to some of the iron elements in the environment, so we're trying to have these elements really make sense for the player to make plans and play with.
The ritual, because it is that in place of a menu, basically? Was that like a deliberate choice to have something?
Yeah, that's a good point. So all of our spells are directly available on the controller at all times. So you don't have like a selection wheel when you want to do all of the other spells, except for ritual, where we can have an actual menu wherein you find new rituals. We can have a lot of them, and they're added to the options that you have when you start doing a ritual.
What does progression look like? Because we're seeing like little bits of, is that XP, runes, souls, something like that, flying off of dead enemies there?
Yeah, there's a couple of different axes on which you can become more powerful, but obviously this is based, in spirit on Dungeons and Dragons, so getting stronger is an important part of that. So a lot of our progression is going to be around magic. So you'll find a lot of spells. For that, you're going to have to explore the world. So they're out there. It's up to you to find them. We're going to give you tools to help you out, but you're going to have to be curious. You're going to have to explore the world. You can also upgrade and tailor all of the spells. So it's kind of like you have a skill tree per spell that you can find. You can have new gears, new kinds of equipments. You can upgrade those. You can level up. So there's a lot of axes in which you can become more powerful.
The way it's structured is, it's an action adventure, but you've got role-playing elements. You got to have that. Is there a way where people could basically craft different builds? Is it kind of lean into different things?
So you're always going to be a warlock, right? So of course we're not going to let you go out of that class, but we want you to be able to tailor your cat tree to your preference. So first, obviously, cosmetic parts, so you can find various armor sets, and she can look vastly different based on what you decide to equip. But then, we want, the way we thought about our gear is more trait-based than just stats. So You can be making plans with those traits to synergize maybe with your go-to spells or the plans you have, or maybe you're like, oh, I'm facing these enemies which are maybe fire base. I'm going to using these equipments that give me resistance. So you can make plans that definitely build up your build of Katri.
Sweet. Now, what's Katri and Tasha's relationship like? How do they engage with each
There's tension there for sure. Like, Katri has her own quest. She's looking for someone she cares for, and that's all her mind is set on that. But obviously, Tasha has her own agenda. And Katri didn't completely understand the price she might be paying by getting in bed with her and accepting this pact that she made. And so there's definitely tension as you go through the game, as you go through the story. More and more of Tasha's agenda is going to get unveiled. And there's an interesting kind of arc to this for us to play with.
I like that. No, so Katri's an original character, right? Like brand new?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Tasha's been around for a cool minute.
She's
for
like a long time.
Gary Gygax creation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. Like, she's legendary within the universe.
How much are you kind of pulling from existing lore versus kind of crafting your own version of her?
Oh, we're definitely pulling from the lore. I mean, some of it is deep cuts, but it's super inspiring for the team. So we're gonna tap in her story, her background. She's lived multiple lives. She's been in different dimensions of Dungeons and Dragons, so she's seen a lot, and that's something we love because it gives us a lot of options for stories to tell.
Nice. What are we looking at in terms of side quests? Bonus objectives.
Yeah, we call them mysteries. They're really, you can think about them as side quests. So a lot of them, we try to ground them in the world, so they let you find more about the lore of the Archon, what's going there, what's happening there, how are people living, the problems they're dealing with. And, Katri's there for our own quest, but we want to let the player decide what they're interested in. So we're not forcing side quests on you. You're going to find a bunch of them, and you decide which ones you want to pursue. And obviously some you might do it for like just your own sake because you want to get potential treasure, or you hear about potential artifacts that you're interested in. If you're as a player, you want to help people out, there's going to be those kinds of side quests too. The way the game is structured, it's really about players' choices to decide what they want to engage in.
Nice. Now we're circling back.
Yeah.
We're about to go back in the dungeon.
Yeah.
There's a beholder down there.
It's a Death Kiss.
Death Kiss.
There's a nuance to it, but it's close.
Fake nerd here. But in terms of bestiary and monsters and stuff, how do you what are you picking in there?
For us that was great, right?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons we chose that setting is basically it allowed us to pick from any of the monster types from the D&D monster books. So we went, we went crazy. We had a lot of fun picking these monsters out. At the same time, Katri is not like godlike. Like there's a limit to the type of monsters she could deal with. We wanted to make an immersive single-player game, so we can't have you facing a horde of dragons. So we were smart in picking things that make sense for one character to deal with. But we had a lot of fun. So there's a lot of variety for you to discover and fight in there.
Do you consider that a boss fight or a mini boss or just a big enemy?
So that's just a big enemy in there. Like he's tough. So at this point in the game, if you look at the progression for Katri, he's somewhere mid-game. Like we would be able to deal with that character, but we actually had fun in avoiding the fight in this sequence because we also wanted to show that it was a valid strategy to not engage and to use your spells to get out if you wanted to. Again, that's players' choices.
Now, what's some creative magic use you've seen in combat that hasn't been showcased in this gameplay? Because I always love when people do like weird loopholes, like crate stacking, that kind of thing.
And that's the whole point of our magic system. So when we play test the game with players, sometimes we see them doing things that we even haven't thought about doing. And I don't want to. We're going to show a lot of these, and we're going to show some crazy stuff along the way. But like for example, you saw that there's a levitate spell, and you can just put an enemy up and kind of crowd control them. But then I saw recently as one of our testers, he took like a big rock up, and then when one of our enemy went underneath, he just canceled the spell and dropped it on his head. I was like, this is not going to work. But it actually worked pretty well. So these are the kind of things that player can think about and do if they want to try it out.
I love to hear it. Now the last big D&D game, obviously Baldur's Gate 3, different kind of game. Most people, if they even finished it, it took them more than 100 hours.
Yeah.
How long of a playthrough are we looking at here?
It's a tough question to answer, I'll be honest with you. We're still, nailing down how we're balancing the game. That's going to have a big impact. But it's a big game. Like, it's an open world game. We know these games always are longer to play through.
Yeah.
But we don't want to have like one of these daunting multiple hundreds of hour game. This is not that type of game. We wanted to create a denser open world where things were closer by if you explored. But it's still like tens of hours, and you're going to have plenty to play through for sure.
Nice. And how close are we to release here?
Well, next year.
Next
we
year.
still have a bit of work ahead of us, but we're feeling good. So next year, this is going to ship for sure.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
Thank you.
by.
Thanks for having me.
Warlock is coming to consoles and PC sometime in 2027, but stick around because there's more Gamescom Studio 2026 right here on IGN.
Okay, we're gonna see much more, but I would like to see what else because I'm here alone in the live stream, so I'm getting bored alone, so
And a fully functional Pip-Boy 3000.
Whoa.
Or kick back and relax to your favorite video game soundtracks on vinyl. Whatever you need, IGN Store has you covered. Head to store.ign.com and start shopping today.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing?
Again, IGN. This is too much. Call of Duty. Let's fall. The only thing that changes is that game is getting costly. Yeah, it's not big, The Tomb Raider, what I saw so far.
Welcome to the biggest gaming playground in the world, where 500,000 people come together to play, connect, and celebrate across Cologne. 1,600 exhibitors. The biggest names in the gaming industry, bringing countless games for you to explore and dominate. Get set for Gamescom's unique indie area, where you're in control of the most creative and unique projects from more than 400 indie studios. And if that's not enough, don't miss Gamescom Awesome Indie Show, our show produced by IGN featuring the hottest new titles from the indie universe. Or become the hero yourself and step into the Gamescom cosplay contest, bringing cosplayers and fans together from around the globe for an unforgettable community experience. Can't make it to Gamescom in person? Visit our website, gamescom.global, and experience all program highlights via our content hub, Gamescom Now. The experts at IGN are gearing up to bring you full days of live streams straight to Twitch and YouTube. Oh, hey, Epi! Crashing the party? Jump into Gamescom Epics on our website and claim your loot. Next up, Gamescom Cares. Our initiative for a safer, more sustainable...
It's when they finished. Okay.
In the world, and coming up shortly, we'll be checking out Chronicles Medieval, Soulframe, plus we'll be taking a closer look at Alien Deathstorm and Dune Awakening.
We're gonna finish with Dune Awakening and finish the live, guys. The other games are not like... is against the murder. Don't kill me. Like indie games, I think there's some indie games that will be published and shared on this games. The Ripper, Vampire Diaries. Another media found. Another indie game, I guess. What is this kind of game? This kind of games are not for people. Dark and like prison. Crazy. Name of the whale. Comment earlier. Really crazy who put this kind of game. Really, I mean.
Dune Awakening has been out on PC for over a year now, but next month it is making its way to consoles, and along with it, a much-requested single-player campaign. Here to tell me about it, creative director Joel Bylas. How you doing?
Yeah,
How you
good.
doing? I had to. Sorry.
Oh dear. No, that works. It's great. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. It feels like just yesterday I was out here talking to you guys about the, just post-launch. You launched on PC, and now you're bringing this thing to consoles.
Yep.
I'm curious, what kind of accommodations are you making for the console crowd? What kind of lessons have you learned from the game being on PC this long that you're sort of applying to this next push here?
Oh, it's a laundry list, but I guess the big highlights are single-player mode. Very important, both for console and PC. It's been a much-requested feature. So, yeah, the console version has that, obviously. With single-player mode comes adjustments along the way with balance, because obviously the game was built with the idea that as you progress, you join groups and get into bigger groups and become parts of guilds. So we've rebalanced sort of the end game in the single-player mode for people to be able to play solo. The game comes with kind of a creative mode. You can go in, you can change a lot of the settings, just like in Conan Exiles, change the server settings, make enemies harder, easier, survival harder, easier, gathering more mats, all the things that you'd expect. So it's a fully customizable experience now for people. So that's the sort of single player mode, and then there's of course consoles, controllers, haptics,
Nice. This is going to have the final chapter of the Book 1 story. What does that mean? What can we expect there?
Right. So the game begins with a question. You get sent to the planet and you're told, find the Fremen, wake the sleeper. And by the end of Book 1, you'll have done both of those things. And that's kind of we're wrapping up the main storyline from the first book and introducing, the beginning of what comes next.
Cool. I mean, the Dune books infamously get increasingly weird as they go. Do you guys have like a long-term plan, like a big crazy, bulletin board planning things out?
Yeah, when we started on the project, it was basically we want to have a life cycle of about 10 years for this game minimum, right? So I planned a narrative that stretches across 10 years. So there is a 10-year plan for this, and we'll see how much of it we get to actually do, but at least Book 1 should end in a way that makes people very happy and satisfied and hopefully excited for what's coming next. And yes, weirdness is a huge part of the future.
I didn't
That's what
watch
we need.
the movies.
More weirdness. Dune gets
and then
weird.
played them.
Now, I know, like, sort of one thing ongoing is, you know, you announced this, it was big emphasis on the MMO side of things, but also survival, and I feel like post-launch, I've seen chatter about how it's kind of gone in a more survival direction. Obviously, some people approach it wanting an MMO, some people want a survival game. How do you, I guess, accommodate both of those? How do you find a balance between the two? And then also
story
incorporate
mode,
single player,
one
which is an
single
entirely
player
other
is my
philosophy
thing,
there.
to be
Yeah,
sure.
I think MMO was kind of more describing how the multiplayer server structure of the game works, because it's something that I think hasn't really been done in the survival space. The fact that you have this overland map, you can go to lots of different maps in the world, and you're playing with lots and lots of other people on a server, up to hundreds of people on some of the big deep desert maps, right? So we were trying to describe the kind of technology behind it rather than actually describing the gameplay, which was far less like an MMORPG like World of Warcraft. It was much more of a survival game. So the pivot away from that is more like, it's a survival game. We know it's a survival game at its core. You can play online and join up with friends, and now you can play alone, right? But it's still that survival experience. So people who want to just play a cool Dune game with a single player storyline and play through and enjoy that, they can. And you can, as we mentioned, tune the difficulty to make it easier if you know. So I think like we're just trying to accommodate as many players as possible, giving them options in how they approach the experience.
Not from the bottom. It's
now,
like
let's say
in
you
bottom
get,
of the
player who's
wish list.
done a bunch
There's
of stuff on the
much more
PC version, and they jump into a fresh file, they roll a new character on consoles. What's waiting for them that's going to kind of be like, oh, this is different? Like, what is the sort of the step one look like?
Yeah, I think the first thing is we have this new character-centric experience, right? So the game doesn't really care anymore about like the old sort of style is like you load in, you choose a server. Now you just load in, the game takes you straight in, you say multiplayer, single player, choose, and then you just start playing. Create a character, you're in the game, your characters are lined up in this carousel at the start, so you can always see what character you're loading in to the game. And then when you get into the game and it plays out, you start with this little single player opening experience we call the new player experience. Then you get into the game. I think the first thing anyone playing on, say, PlayStation 5 is going to notice is the haptics on the controller. Like we took an approach to making sure we built in interesting uses for adaptive triggers and things like that. So
only
when
the
you slow blade
console,
someone,
sorry,
you really
and
feel
for
that
PC
blade sliding through.
What about walking and trying not to attract the worm?
Yep.
Walk without rhythm,
vibration.
as they say.
Yeah.
So you got a whole thing with that too.
Yeah, exactly. When you go out on the sand and you've got the both the Xbox and PlayStation controller, you feel your footsteps. And then when the worm comes, you feel it, and you know exactly where it's coming from because it's directional as well. So it's really cool.
All right.
Yeah,
that's cool. There's a whole new Dune movie coming out. Obviously this is a separate universe and all that. Do you have any content lined up to sort of coincide with that, or is this just a whole other thing?
No, I think the movie's coming out later in the year, and we're hitting a big update with the polar caps of Arrakis, a never before seen part of Arrakis. It's mentioned in the books, but it's never shown, and it's not in the films either. So it is going to be a really cool new adventure playfield in the game for people to explore. It reignites the survival experience of the game with the new survival setup as well. And that's going to come out later this year as well. So coinciding around the movie, yes, and giving people a bunch of things to do, new things.
Sweet. What's the most requested thing that you've seen from the community that you're still working on? Like, what's the thing? Yeah, obviously, you just get single player. And I'm like, yeah, what else you got? But like, what is there anything that you're like, yes, we hear you, we're working on it, that you want to kind of get out there?
Yeah, actually, funny, I've been talking about that a little bit with people. People are asking for lots of different things. One of the big requests I see from people a lot is the companion system from Conan Exiles, the thrall system, like being able to bring people with you on adventures. So people have been asking a lot about that. So yeah, that's something that I'm thinking about, and there's been a lot of things like that along the way.
You got a big, huge, 10-year long-term plan for this. Has anything that people have been like, we want this? Has anything that made you go and like, well, I guess we got to change this around, or we got to kind of adjust that? What is that process like?
I mean, it's fine, right? Because it's an on-paper plan. No plan survives first contact with the players, as we say. So it's fine. So I've had, for example, I think people requesting a lot more variety in the game, like wanting more visual variety because it's a desert, and so the polar caps, is one of the big features for that. But then people want to go off-world. We're looking at maybe other planets, how that can go in the future, right? So it's just looking at the plan and saying, where does this particular slice move, and narrative can adjust to that. It's just writing at this point, so it's easy.
Tell me about the polar caps. Is there snow up there, or is it just more desert?
Well, there's no precipitation on Arrakis,
yeah,
right?
So, I was going to say.
So, but you do have this thing called the El Sayal, which is the rain of sand, when a sandstorm sweeps up into the sky and the sand slowly falls down. And so at the polar caps, we have a sandstorm that becomes incredibly cold, and it comes down and creates an atmosphere of extreme cold in the areas on the northern parts of Arrakis. So
and that adds a whole new wrinkle to survival.
A whole layer of survival there. People will need to think about how heat and things work out.
Now, for first-time players who are jumping in on console, this is the kind of game you can sink 1,000+ hours into. What is the general turnaround to just experience the single-player stuff if you wanted to just jump in? How big of a game are we looking at here?
I mean, our average Steam review time is at 210 hours. That's our average played time. But I think you can safely experience, especially if you change some of the sliders to make it a little easier in single player or whatever, I think you can safely experience the game in about 50 to 80 hours.
Okay, that's reasonable. That's a good amount of time.
And then you've kind of seen everything, and then whether you want to go deeper in any of the features is kind of up to you.
Have you seen one of the classes, one of the character builds you can go towards a clear winner above all else, or is it sort of evenly distributed there?
I think it changes when we change balance, right? So especially, I think the PvP crowd is very interested in, melee was less. It shouldn't be worse than ranged. In Dune, in particular, people were quite mad because there was a patch that nerfed melee too much. And then we've been adjusting those things back. We've changed a little bit the way stamina works.
Solo
no, I haven't. I think people who are playing more solo
consoles?
or single player or not playing in large groups or just doing PvE content, they basically choose their preferred builds. There are builds that do better in AoE mob situations where there's a lot of enemies. Builds that do better one-on-one. So it's kind of been okay, but yeah, the balance. It's like with all these online games, we tweak a little bit. Suddenly the new meta. And then you change again, the new meta. So
no matter which direction you turn it, someone's going to get mad at you about it.
I mean,
someone else will get excited though.
The way I see it, I think the old MMO approach to this was always never nerf anybody, just make someone else's class slightly better, and then make the other class better again, and then make the other class better again, and just keep going forwards, never backwards.
Nice. Any tips for first-time players jumping in now?
Well, I mean, my tip is always pay attention to worm sign. If the worm eats you, you lose all your stuff.
Don't do that.
It's the only thing in the game.
Don't get eaten by that should just be on the instructions for a Dune game. Don't get eaten by worm. That's bad.
Pretty much.
Don't do that.
So that's the first one, and then I just pay attention to the sun and hydration, and make sure you've got water, and build yourself a shelter as soon as possible, and get yourself a sand bike and get out there.
Hell yeah. Well, Joel, thank you so much for coming by and chatting.
Guys,
I
it's gonna be the end of this live stream.
Dune Awakening is out now
enjoy.
on PC and on September 22nd.
I know this
Xbox
the
Series
day
and
of
PS5 owners can get in on the action.
still
But
on,
right now, there's more Gamescom Studio.
I'm here alone, so I can't continue like this. So enjoy and see you into the live stream of game or anything. Ciao, ciao.
I'm standing in the one place you definitely don't want to make a sound unless you like